Also remind you to turn your cell phones to off or to vibrate, please, if you're in the audience also. Good evening. We're going to call this special City Council meeting to order on Tuesday, September the 7th, 2021 at 7 p.m. All council members are present along with some staff members. There are only two agenda items this evening. The first agenda item is open questions and answer session with the City Council in reference to the sale of high tech. That being said, the vote is Tuesday, September the 14th, here at the Hawarden Community Center. It is a one-question ballot. You can vote any time between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Each household has received all of the talking points that we have tonight, all of the financial information about all of the telecommunications section has been and is on the city website. If you have specific desire to look at all the financial types of things, you certainly may. The City Council has worked and staff a number of months in regards to get to this far, and obviously you don't get this far without doing everything correctly and legally. And tonight is a question and answer in regards just to telecommunications. This session, as you might have noticed, Mike has turned it on. This will be taped. My thanks to the council members and staff for being here. It was brought up a number of weeks ago from a few council members just to make themselves available to answer questions specifically of anyone in the audience tonight. May I remind the council members that you must remain factual. You can give no opinions. We are not going to get into debate. Legally, we cannot obviously tell anyone how to vote on Tuesday. Tonight is specifically just to answer any questions that you may have for the council. If we cannot come up with those answers, we will direct Mike to find the answer when this is all over and get that answer to you so you can resolve your question. I would also like those in the audience to listen to the questions that are being asked. If there are questions tonight, I don't personally see a need to answer the same question from 5 different people 5 different times. Okay? The podium mic is available for you, and so we will open up agenda item number 1A, question and answer session with the City Council in reference to the sale of high tech. Does anyone have a question for us? You can approach the podium, please.
This is going to be easy. I got a couple questions. First of all, I'll get up here.
Make sure they can hear it, Jack, because it's being taped.
Okay. Well, first of all, I haven't read. I've been gone, and I didn't get to the one session that they had about when they met with High Tech. I didn't get a chance to meet with them, and we just found out today when we got home that there was a meeting tonight, and I was hoping more people would be here for questions. One of the questions that I have is, and it's probably explained, but I didn't read it at all. But since I've been in Hawarden, I bought 3 businesses, and sometimes I transfer money out of one business to the other business to buy something, and then I pay that business back. Is that what happened to High Tech? Did you borrow money out of High Tech and for other equipment or something like that and not pay it back? That's why it's losing money?
No, the programming cost and stuff have increased so much, and then you have the decline in telephone and all of that. So it all kind of comes together on top of the fact our system has not been upgraded to be a digital system for TV subscribers or anything like that. So I think a lot of it was Upgrades weren't done maybe when they should have been, way back in the past to keep up with times. But also, it's a changing market. So we're dealing with Dish, we're dealing with DirecTV and all of the other competitors where that necessarily wasn't an issue before. But now, since 2009, I believe, the FCC's allowed television stations like KTIV or KCAU to charge cable companies where they used to be free before, and we're at the mercy of what they want to charge us for submitting that to our subscribers. So all of that cuts down on the revenue, and when you're losing customers all along the way and your revenue is declining and you have upgrades to pay for, it doesn't matter where transfers are coming in and out of, you cannot sustain a system like that.
So in other words, all this cost and everything, it's passed on to Heartland and Premier?
No. Right now, it's passed on to the customers that High Tech
No,
has.
the cost that's passed on to you guys, or not you guys, but the cost that's passed on to High Tech, all that cost is passed on to Heartland and Premier?
You mean the debt? Are you
Yeah.
asking about the debt that we?
Well, he just talked about the prices, the cost that was being...
Everybody's got their own price schedule.
Yeah, but he just talked about the things that were passed on to High Tech for
They,
For
you're
debt.
talking about channel, he's talking about channel costs and
Those-
things like that?
yeah. That's all passed on to Heartland
They have
and
to pay the same thing.
they pay the same
Yeah,
thing?
every cable company pays channel cost, everything like that, even the local stations that you can hang a digital antenna up, get for free. If we run them over our cable system, we have to pay for those per subscriber per month.
Okay. And so does Heartland and so does Premier.
Yes.
Why did the council take the lowest bid?
This wasn't the lowest, this is the higher one. They're gonna put $5 million into the system after they buy.
Yeah, but what's Heartland gonna do?
They didn't say.
Are-
You
They're
mean
on-
long
or
lines,
long
correct?
lines.
I mean, long lines. They're not gonna do anything?
If Long Lines would have gotten a contract, they were gonna put maybe 1 or 2 million in, just upgrading the coaxial cable system that we have. They weren't gonna put fiber in. Premier was gonna put fiber in whether we sell it to them or not. They're gonna put fiber in the town, because they're, I don't know what's the word for it, but they're the,
They're
So-
the incumbent.
So when we sell them, so when we sold it to Premier, they bought all of our our conduit that we put in the ground and everything, that's all theirs then? Or is that still ours?
if we sell it to them,
That's theirs then?
yeah. That's what they want. They want our conduit. They want to be able to go to a lot of houses out. The price of burying cable is a lot more expensive than it used to be.
Well, I know, it's about $10 a foot.
Yeah. So that's one of the advantages of selling it. Premier's gonna put in to the house system whether we sell or not.
That's if,
They're
that,
going to do it. Now,
that-
we've got a chance to sell our system.
Yeah.
If we wish, if the voters approve it.
so if, let's say, for instance, I don't take Premier and I stay with High Tech, they're still gonna run a line to my house?
No, they wouldn't run a line until you ask for fiber to your house.
They would have the infrastructure at the curb basically ready for you to take fiber if you choose so. So they're gonna run a parallel infrastructure underground right next to the city's infrastructure. That's their plan. If we didn't sell. So right now, part of the value for their system is the infrastructure that we currently have in ground.
Okay. Well, I was on the council when we did this, and just want to let you guys know that we put a lot of time and a lot of work into this. And when we did this, we had towns, I don't know how many towns, but we had towns looking at what the state was going to do for us, because they had to okay this. And once they okayed this and we started doing it, other towns did the same thing, because it was the best way to go. The towns that could own their own utilities is the ones that did it. But we sure put a lot of time and a lot of effort, the council did, when we did it, and we went to meetings in Des Moines, and many times Bob Borchers would go down there, and it was truly a good thing when we did it. I'm just hoping that,
Well, if we could still afford it, it'd be a great thing to keep going. You're right, it's nice to own your own company, but if you only have 400 cable system subscribers, if you only have 800 total internet subscribers, we can't compete.
but
We
see,
can't
that's,
put in
but
fiber
see,
for.
that's all this Premier's gonna have, and they're still gonna lose money.
Already got the system, they've got fiber going out. The federal government gave grants for, there's people in rural Sioux County that have fiber already. Farmers south of town, they've got fiber. The government gave grants for the people that don't have any computer systems yet.
So what I'm saying is, though, if we're losing money, what we've got, they come in, we're gonna lose money, they're gonna lose money.
No, not necessarily. They take those subscriber cost or retransmission fees and they divide that up over all of their subscribers, not just the small amount that we have. So they're able to disseminate that cost across their board where we don't have that availability because our population is smaller and the people that are using it is smaller yet. And when it comes to competing with a system that's very updated or one that needs updating, what do our citizens want or deserve? More importantly, that's going to be up to them. So as our rates would increase, we could, and the past has shown us, lose customers in town. And if there's a better service available for the same or not much different money, and they're providing a better service, we can't keep up with that competition either as high tech.
Our costs, are the customers' costs gonna stay the same?
Very close. If not in some instances less, some maybe more. But it depends on what you're wanting.
Actually, I'm gonna get fiber this weekend because I live on County Road. And the bill's gonna go down, and I'm gonna have more TVs and hooked up to fiber. Instead of, right now, I've got one big box for HBO, and I'm gonna have all the TVs are gonna be hooked up, and it's gonna cost less. I'm dropping my landline, so I'm saving $10 on that. But the price isn't going up, and I'm gonna get 75 megabits or whatever instead of 30. What's that? It's a silver package, 30?
I'm not sure what that one is.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have. I just hope it works out. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks.
Jack, one thing on the pricing, if you go to Premier's website, they've got all their pricing listed. If you look across there, they have several different towns. They compete with Long Lines in Orange City. If you look at that pricing and then you look at the individual towns, you'll see that they're consistent. What we have found, or what I've found in comparing them, is their internet is a little cheaper for faster speeds. Their cable is more expensive, but they have a lot more digital channels. And with cable, you pay per channel, is how they figure that. So they have a lot more channels, so you're going to pay a little more on cable, depending on what package you take. So I just encourage you to look at that. And
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Larry Gregg. First of all, thank you for having this meeting. I do know that there are some questions that are circulating around town that maybe it'd be good for you to respond to. One is, have you conducted studies as to the financial health of high-tech in the future if it's not sold? We know high-tech is coming to town anyway. How will that cut into high-tech's business and financial stability of high-tech?
That'd be the consortium.
Yes, we have. It's we've used Consortia Consulting, which is the same firm that the city used to help build and develop the system when it started. And so we've consistently used those. We don't have that.
It's on question 4.
Okay. Go ahead,
If it
Rob.
come out here, Bill. It just said, according to the study, we'll be losing money by 4 years after the competition comes in. And with only a 25% loss to Premier customers. So, but that would come out in your utility bill. So,
Those are also online, those figures from Consortia. Consortia went ahead and did a study of our rate system now, assuming 7 to 10% increases per year. And they came to the conclusion that after year 4, if we continue on, we will not be able to make our debt payment. Then they went and did the study and figured just a 25% loss in our customer base over those 4 years, and by year 4, we will be losing money totally.
And so what does that mean at that point? When and if we hit that point where high tech is losing money?
It'll be up to the council at that point whether we can continue to operate, what we'll have to do with the rates. We'll have to see what we're legally allowed to do with a failing utility.
Okay. Knowing that, would high tech in the next 5 years be able to deliver fiber services to homes and businesses?
Not, I don't foresee that unless there was some major federal grants that were available. Because the revenue's not there to keep it solvent right now, where are you going to come up with $4 to $5 million to do it?
Okay.
I think we've looked into that too with the grants, and we do not qualify
No.
for any federal grants either.
Okay. What impact would be felt in the area of community and business growth if the sale of high tech is voted down, if any?
We'd still have to pay the $700,000 that we owe on it. We'd still be losing money. We'd be losing more money every year, and we wouldn't have a competitive product. If we borrowed more, I mean, if you went to a bank and asked them to, you promised you couldn't even pay off the interest, let alone the debt. They'd never borrow you any money to expand the business.
I think that's a question that's loaded with conjecture, because it's kind of a guess.
Well, with what you know, how important is it to a town like ours to be able to draw new residents and businesses in to have a top-notch internet, especially, I guess I'm talking?
Whether that be owned by someone else or by the city, doesn't matter?
No, I don't think it matters in that regard.
When it comes to a business like mine, that's one of the first things I look at, is do they have the capability of handling the video and internet capability that I need? And in some instances they do, in some instances they don't. But it also, to me, says that you're a progressive community if you're offering that to your citizens. If you're offering a second-grade service and you own the utility, I think it's a hard thing to pressure and say, come here because we're top-notch.
Businesses ask about, what is your...
Yeah, I think internet capabilities are huge right now to businesses, and I think that's just going to increase as time goes on.
Okay.
We've had some businesses that have requested fiber and have gone to Premier to achieve that today. As some of us experienced with the pandemic, doing a lot of at-home video conferencing or any of that high demand for data sources, that you can reach a limit that you start to see some impact on that. So not every business will have that, because not everybody is as intensive with those types of demands, but say a school system, somebody that would be doing a lot of videoing in, that's really demanding on some of those cable systems. So some businesses will be more impacted than others. There are some businesses that look for that fiber reliability.
On a related note, how would Premier provide redundancy for companies that need their internet going in order to conduct business. I know that that is a concern of some.
In many cases, you do have the increased reliability with fiber. Most companies that are today looking for that redundancy, since most systems aren't bulletproof, will go to a cellular option, a cellular failover. So a lot of cases are going that route for a differentiated service to have that redundancy.
To your knowledge, will Premier be bringing in 2 lines to the city?
I don't know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's what they told me at their open house, but
Okay.
Well, then
Was that,
they probably are. I know they talked about, when we asked
Well-
about hospitals,
yeah,
how,
Right.
in case something went down, and they were saying that almost all the big cities now have separate lines. So I understand it, but somehow they have the lines to go 2 different directions, so their hospitals and infrastructure is always connected.
Yeah, and fiber can have a dedicated line where it actually has direct internet access lines versus a more commonplace line. So as we build out that system, that may be a potential option for, say, the hospital to have that reliability.
right. If voted down, what happens to the 2.8 million offer to purchase high-tech?
It goes away. Because we can't vote on it again for 4 years. So this is, the discussion's tabled for 4 years. And then you can reference back to that consortia consulting thing of where the state of high-tech will be after those 4 years.
The value would,
We would be losing money.
right, it'd be less valuable for
Right.
someone to come in and buy it at that point. You know, if the vote is approved, the city gets 2.8 million, what are some things that you could see that money used for?
First, paying off the debt.
Which would be,
$783,628.
so leaves over 2 million. What are some things that 2 million might be used for?
Streets.
City streets.
Streets?
yep.
Well, if the original system cost 5 million or whatever back when they put it in, possibly we could actually be a flush city again and not have to spend it right away in case there was something down the line that we needed.
It's something we would review, like the lighting projects we did with the
Sure.
street lights, different downtown improvements. I think we would consider maybe some of the more urgent projects and look to allocate those funds there.
Okay. I know there were supposed to be 2 appraisals of our system, and there was a problem with that. Can you explain what happened with that?
Nobody would appraise it. I mean,
Yeah,
simply put.
we couldn't find anybody qualified to appraise a telecom system. The 2 appraisals you talk about were supposed to be done. One was supposed to be appointed by IUB, the Iowa Utilities Board. The other one was supposed to be picked by us. The Iowa Utility Board couldn't come up with anybody for the appraisals. They actually gave us a name of a guy out of Minneapolis. He came down and started it, got about halfway through, talked to our city attorney and I, and asked what was he supposed to be doing. We referred him back to IUB because he was IUB's pick, and then he called us back and said, I can't complete, I don't have the expertise to complete it. We called around to a company out of Denver, a company out of Des Moines, a company out of Minneapolis, and actually one out of Mitchell, South Dakota, and none of them had the expertise to complete the appraisal as required by Iowa Code 3882A. So we had no choice but then to contact our legislators and say, we're kind of stuck here. So they helped us by passing an exception for the law to that appraisal part of the law, none of the other parts, just the appraisals, so that we would not have to go through an appraisal process.
And so what did you do instead?
We went out and talked to some companies that were interested and negotiated with those companies on the price of the telecom.
Okay. Another question that's out there. Were there adequate opportunities for the public to have knowledge of all of this and enough public involvement, in your opinion?
I think what we did was all required by law. There were certain things that we had to do first in order to look over the offers, those kind of things. The minute, the information is out there, it's out on the website, it's out, that's kind of where we put all of that information so people can access that. And I know that if they were to come and ask about what was going on or come to a council meeting so that they could watch, they would find out that information
Most of this was done in open session council meetings.
after.
Yes, after the initial, because when you're discussing any of it, it's not like any competitive business has an open meeting to discuss what
Yep.
direction they're going to take. So when it comes to improvements or what direction we're going to do or any negotiating, we always talk to our attorneys, and they say whether or not we can do this in open or closed session. Anything in closed session, we talk about, and then as soon as we can release it in open session so that it's public knowledge, we do. It's not like we're up here hiding anything, but we also are trying to be a competitive business at the same time.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you for clarifying
Larry.
those things.
Thank you, Larry.
Does anyone else have any questions for us this evening? On a side note, I see Mr. Dorhout and Mrs. Dorhout. Mr. Dorhout, thanks for letting Mike and I come to your government classes this morning. Found that very helpful, we think, from our standpoint.
Even better than that, Rick, Kaylin has been a great help on the upcoming elections and very knowledgeable, so she's kind of my go-to when I need to call somebody at the courthouse.
That being said, the vote is September the 14th, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Understanding is it's not like a school bond vote that does not have to have 60%, it just has to have majority. So, again, we're not telling anyone how to vote. We have given, as Travis has said, we've been very transparent, and Jen has said that too. All of this information, again, is on the website. We've sent mailers out, and so it'll be up to the citizenry next Tuesday to direct the council in which way we go with high-tech following that. There are no other standard agenda items. The next Hawarden City Council meeting, regular meeting, will be tomorrow evening at 5:30, right back here again. And as we've stated, they're always open, they're always taped, they're always put back on the website. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Jen, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. All in favor of adjourning this special city council meeting, say aye.
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 Those opposed? This meeting's adjourned. Thanks for your attendance.